welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae, and we're going to get started. We are on week 1, part 2 of our topic for the month, which is Gene Factor. Tuesday night was awesome. It was amazing. Give me a minute. I'm trying to go live on Instagram. It takes so long to get everything started on there. And I want to say welcome to my Facebook family as well. I know I'm live on here somewhere. I got to get back on here. Let's try to do this again. Trying to work all these different things. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I want to say good evening to my Instagram family. Hi, Ladybug. Hey, Mino, how are you? To my Facebook family, to my TikTok family, my YouTube family. Good evening. We're going to get this going. This 30 minutes is going to come and go quickly. This is an open platform, guys. So if you have any questions, or if you have any life scenarios that you would like to share, I will pause and give highlight to that. But we're going to go on and get started. And I'm so happy to see you all again. We had a great start of on Tuesday night. And we are talking about our genes, our biology, our hereditary, all of that. What makes us who we are, things that maybe we understand, things that maybe we want to get to understand a little bit better about ourselves. But before we get started, let me move on with this. Okay. So I am a degree counselor. Let me do my website disclaimer. Let's get started.
Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself are limited to the current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the client. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information changes frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual, will consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness.
All right. All righty then. And now I'm going to do my bio. I'm going to do something a little different. I have been overlooking this, but I'm going to go on and
my
do my
brief
bio.
Counseling bio. I'm a degree counselor who've acquired a dual Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology and organizational management from Ashford University. My great passion is bringing healing to people who have been through traumatic or stressful experiences. When human beings experience trauma or severe life stressors, it is not uncommon for their lives to unravel. I help clients who include children, adults, and families to find healthy perceptions of themselves and strengthen their relationships so they can know themselves as peaceful, complete, whole, and safe. My brief count.
All right. So let's move this along, guys. Tonight, we're going to be finishing up our introduction about gene factor, and we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why we need to talk about our genetics. Okay. And so we know that before we get started, though, I am a Christian counselor. Let me open up this. This is the scripture that I've been using all year long. Let me go back. It is Deuteronomy 31:6, the NIV version of the New International Version. It says to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you, and he will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. Now, I am a Christian counselor. I'm not trying to put this on anybody else. I'm just a Christian counselor, and this is my choice of counseling, being a Christian counselor. All right, let's open up our 5. We have actually 3 different key points for this evening. Let me open it up. And I'm going to close it. So number 1, it says millions of people have had their genome sequenced to learn more about their genetic ancestry and their health risks, such as ancestry.com. And then they do like a genetic history as far as your health-wise and physical state is concerned. Number 2, Knowledge about our genomes can empower us, but it also comes with the threat of genetic discrimination. That is something else that some people, actually, a lot of people are experiencing right now, recently, due to a lot of things that is happening across the world, across the globe. Number 3, we should aim to maximize the benefits in non-discriminatory, democratic, and fair ways about getting to know more about our genes, who we are, where we come from. So let's go on. And this teaching, this theory is from Sophia von Stum, and that's Stumm. Sophia von Stum. All right, so let me move this along. And next week we're gonna really open this up. We're going to open this up about genes and DNA. So here we go. 5 reasons why we need to talk about our genetics. And that's what I just said. So now we're talking about, can genetics help us make better decisions in our life or within our family? Can genetics help us make better decisions? All right. So the 20th century was dubbed the century of the genes. Okay. So we can say that it started with the coining of the word gene in 1903. 50 years later, James Watson and Francis Crick used Rosalind Franklin's X-ray diffraction images to describe the double structure of her DNA. All right, so short for deoxyribonucleic, I can't say the whole thing, is DNA. All right, so after 50 years, in 2003, the sequence of all genetic variants in the human genome have been mapped out. And in 2008, Time magazine crowned the at-home DNA kit. A lot of us know the at-home DNA kit as what I said earlier. Okay, a plastic receptacle that you spit in at a home and then mail off at-home DNA kit. And again, it is a plastic receptacle that you put your saliva in and then you send it off. Okay, so and it says a lot of people have been paying to find out more about their DNA, okay, and who they come from and where they're from. All right, so let's talk about number one. The first reason why people are doing this. I'm gonna open this up a little bit, and let's close it back. Why are people trying to find out who they are and where they come from? And why is it important? I don't know everything about my history. Of course, I don't think that anybody too much really knows everything about who they are and where they come from, specifically because we are in our generation. We were born, I'm a 70s baby. So my life started in 1970. Okay. But the people before me, 50 years, 100 years before me, I didn't know them. Or let me say it. I didn't know much about the family. I know my great grandmother, my grandmother's mom. I had the pleasure of knowing her. But I did not know my great grandmother on my dad's side of the family. So I am interested in getting an ancestry DNA done to find out more about my father's side of the family. Okay, so number one, DNA is everywhere. Yes, we know that DNA is everywhere. Most people are trying to find out, especially those that are ethnic, are trying to find out what tribe we come from out in Africa. If we even derive from Africa, because a lot of us, especially those our ancestors that came over here from on the boat, a lot of our DNA is mixed. It's been mixed, So number one, it says DNA is everywhere. And so it says that today the number of customers of genetic testing services likely exceed 60 million people. So right now they have tracked over 60 million people who have gone out and tried to find an ancestry to find out about who they are and who their people are and where they come from. All right. So genomic data features in all areas of life. They inform clinical diagnosis. It helps you understand your medical history. If there's diseases, specific diseases that run generationally in the family. It also helps ensure compatibility. You know, years ago, before all of this came out, they used to say, "Oh no, you know, you got to know where you come from," which you should still do, because you don't want to marry your cousin or even a sibling. God forbid, a sibling. You know what I'm saying? And so they still these tests still help out. And it says before the rise of Ozempic, personalized nutrition. Well, it's going into nutrition, even how these DNA tests help with nutrition. People are finding out that how obesity has run in the family. A lot of people are finding out nowadays that PCOS, what is it? PCOS, how that is hereditary. People are finding out, of course, diabetes, how that is hereditary. So these tests not only tell you where you come from or who your people are. Hey, Candace, where your people or who your people are, but they're telling you also about your biological makeup, which is awesome. You know, you need to know certain things. There's some families that have hearing loss that runs in their family, or scoliosis that may run in their family, or even being blind runs in their family. So these DNA tests are amazing. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. The second reason why people are really trying to figure out more about who they are, their biological makeup, where they come from, is, and let me open this up a little bit. Okay. Like I said, genetics are probabilistic, and they're not deterministic. All right, so people who are turning to these at-home DNA tests, again, like Ancestry.com. You doing okay, Candace? Like Ancestry.com. I'm saying Ancestry because that's the most famous one that gives you the at-home DNA test. As a matter of fact, I was at work a couple of weeks ago, and there is I work for a city hall down here in Georgia. And so one of the investigators came in, and he has the same name as my family, Hicks. And so I always laugh. I say, you know, you probably are related to my family. You not only have the same name, but you actually look a lot like them. So then he started encouraging me to go on and to get an Ancestry.com to find out more about the family and about this, that, and the other. And he wasn't wrong. She said, Candace is so funny. And he wasn't wrong. And so I am interested. I'm very interested in finding out more about my family on both sides, on my mom's side and my dad's side. Okay, so genetics. People are turning to more at-home DNA kits. Okay, they're pondering one of two interferences. A lot of people are trying to find out biologically who they are, and then they're trying to find out health-wise once again. And you're going to keep hearing this over and over again tonight about why most people are trying to figure out who they are. Okay, so it says that from the fear that behaving one way, a lot of people are doing this because they're trying to figure out, is there a history? Like, we know that mental health is really, really big right now. The importance of preserving your mental health, of building your mental health, of of definitely keeping yourself mentally healthy and aware. So a lot of people are trying to see, maybe is this something that runs in my family where certain triggers will trigger poor mental health. And so a lot of this is going on as well. It says the first is paralysis from the fear of behaving one way or another way that will trigger genetic risk into a phenotypic reality, usually a nasty illness that nobody wants, or will I chastise myself for every glass of wine? We know that addiction is biological. It runs in the family. It is. So people want to be more aware of different things and to help better understand who they are and why they do certain things. For example, I love the smell of cigars. I didn't grow up with anybody smoking cigars in my house. I wasn't around people that smoked cigars growing up, but I love the smell of cigars. And so I was like, that is so awkward. I don't smoke cigars or anything like that, but I just really love the smell of cigars. Well, I found out some years ago doing when when the family comes together on a family Zoom and they talking about my great great grandmama, and they said that she wound up being a single mom. Her husband died. Her husband died when she was a young woman, and she wound up raising her only child by herself, which is my great grandmother. And they said, and she was a little teeny tiny lady. They said, but she smoked cigars. And they said for back in the 1800s, guys, she smoked cigars. She loved tobacco and she smoked cigars. And when I had shared that with my family on my mom's side, they laughed. They said, "Oh, you definitely got that from our great grandmother, because she was known for smoking cigars." And I was like, wow. Something as simple as that. I just love the smell of cigars. I don't smoke them. Didn't grow up with anybody that did, and I didn't grow up around people that smoked them. But I love the smell of cigars, and I'm like, oh wow! Even something that simple is genetic, is biological. So this is what number two. The reason number two, genetics are can be probabilistic and not deterministic. Okay. And so it says other challenges is the self-fulfilling prophecies. Knowing our genetics may make us behave in certain ways that we have been told about or maybe not told about. In essence of our true self, or who we are, or who we have a tendency to become. So it says that if we're not told like I just shared about being an incorrigible smoker, genetically speaking, somebody might say to themselves, well, what's the point in trying to fight the habit of smoking since it runs in my family? Okay, whereas somebody else says, because it does run in my family, I'm not even going to open that door. I'm not going to smoke because it becomes an addiction. We don't want that addiction to lead to anything physical where it'll cause cancer or anything like that. So that was number two. Number two, again, genetics can be probabilistic, not deterministic. Number three, let's move this on about our genes. Next week, we really gonna open up, and it's gonna be more on a personal level. The next 2 weeks following the month about genes, and we're gonna get into specifics next week. Number three. Reason number three, it says, and let me open this up so y'all can see it a little bit better. Number three says there are no genetic tribes, there are no genetic clans, or no genetic races. This is what this theory has found. So it says the desire to know one's own genetic ancestry makes a lot of people buy these genetic testers, such as Ancestry.com. Okay, right? That's the one that I know. Hey, Shelly. Hey, I'm saying it wrong. W get it. That's it. So it says that it is possible to trace the people and geographical locations that a person descended from. What I was saying earlier. A lot of people are trying to find out what part of Africa they came from. Or if you even came from Africa. You could have come from Spain or Brazil or somewhere. But they want to know where they originated from and stuff. Like, y'all know I stop and I make a lot of personal, I make it personal with me. So my husband and I have 3 grown folk, 2 sons and a daughter. And I was growing up, people always thought that our children were Samoan. And I'm like, they always said, hi, Rosemary. People always thought that they were Samoan growing up, especially the boys. They thought that the boys were Samoan. They still do think that the boys are Samoan. And I was like, this is, we know on my side, especially with my mom's side. I know more about my mom's side than my dad's side. But on my mom's side, our people are Black, Indian, and Irish. And so I found out recently that my grandfather's grandfather was Asian. I said, oh my gosh, that explains a lot. We found out on the Normans, we found out that my great. So my grandfather's grandfather, my grandfather's grandfather was Asian, and he married a Black and Indian lady. And I was like, oh, that explains a whole lot. You know, we have the curved eyes and different things, you know, and down to our my children. So of course, you know, we all have different shades. Keyway say, wow, straight now. All right. I'm telling you, Keyway. I said, oh my gosh. So we have Asian descent in our blood. My grandfather's grandfather was Asian, and he married a Black and Indian woman. So that's why, and people used to always tell us when our children were growing up, they was like, you don't know what you are. And they was like, yes, they are Samoan. And we was like, no, they're not. No, we're not. And then to find out, we just found this out like within the last year and a half, that my grandfather's grandfather was actually Asian. I said, oh, that's why I love me some Asian cuisine. Any soup, noodle, the noodle got to be good though. Like that. And I said, oh my goodness, that explains the eyes. It explains, oh my, and even our children growing up, when they met other Samoans, they were like, you're Samoan. It was like, no, we're not. No, we're not. And look at this. We found out a year and a half ago, my grandfather's grandfather was Asian. He married a Black and Indian woman. And I said, good Lord. So it says that there are no genetic tribes, clans, or races. So let's move on. So knowing your ancestry responds to our deep-rooted curiosity about where we've come from, what our origins may say about us, framed in positive ways. It's about finding and celebrating our personal heritage. Yes, sir, it really is. And such as narratives of our unique genealogies can make us feel special. But they also serve to reinforce the false thinking that people can be divided into genetically distinct groups, tribes, clans, and races. A lot of us are just mixtures of different types of cultures, like I just shared with you all. So such groupings are socially, geographical, political, ethnic, and other factors. And the incorrect view that humans can be classified into discrete, innate categories have been and sadly continues to be misused to create divisions. So this is the third reason why we need to talk about our genes and our genetics, guys. This is why I felt pressed to talk about our biology, our genetic makeup on this month. So this is, again, this is the third reason why we need to talk about our genes and our genetics. How we interpret genetics influences how we treat the people whom we share the world with. Okay? All right, so I'm going to say that again. How we interpret genetics influence how we treat the people in whom we share this world with. So that is number 3. Again, there are no tribes, no clans, and no races. Let's move on to number 4. All right. And then we'll be finished shortly. Okay, I think we're doing good. We're doing all right. I'm going to open this up. Okay, so number 4 says the reason number 4 is the right to ignorance versus the responsibility towards other people. I'm gonna say that again. Number 4 is talking about the right to ignorance versus the responsibility towards others. And so we know that living in this world is not easy. It has not been easy, especially for cultures that that come from other ethnic places like Spain, like Africa, like Japan, or any part of Japan, Asia, um, even Australia. So it says that our genomic makeup can tell us about our personal genetic risk. Again, it's going to keep talking about that for health problems that may run in families. Okay, and I don't want to break it down because we already know what these health risks are. Okay, so it says that some people, again, they want to know their health risk of developing these diseases. This is why they're taking these type of tests. And again, I'm more so know about ancestry.com, that type of test. But I love that they have the new health, the medical test that you can take. I know with cancer, with women, they have the predisposed test that you can take now, especially if cancer runs in your family. So you can take it at a very early age and see if your cells are predisposed to cancer. And then they'll start treating you to kind of thwart and to make sure that you won't get cancer as you get older. So I love that they're doing these type of tests. They have other type of tests, of course, pre-diabetic. Diabetes run on my husband's side of the family. So when our children were small and being raised, they went to an endocrinologist, a specialist, and from young all the way to 18, and it taught them, it gave them education on how to make sure they ate properly, make sure that they stayed active, and it just got ahead of anything to where they will not get diabetes as they get older, because that does run in the family. And I am so grateful that even though I call them our geriatric grown folk, because they're in their 30s, and our baby is getting ready to turn 30 in a few months too. So with them being adults, they still practice what they were taught growing up from their endocrinologists, as well as whatever we did at home to help keep them out of that danger zone with getting diabetes. So these are the things that they're talking about with, again, with the right to ignorance versus the responsibility and all of that. Where am I at? And then I said fear of discrimination, number 4. Okay, so genetic variants are associated with the risk, again, of breast cancer in women. We're going to move away from that. Okay, and it's talking about, this teaching is really getting on how, the example about how they're teaching women to, if you're predisposed to cancer, how to get ahead of it and make sure that you don't fall into the category of becoming diagnosed with cancer. Let's move on to number 5. Reason number 5. Why what's going on with people being more aware about their genes and wanting to get to know more about their hereditary and their biological makeup. So let's open this up. It says the fear of genetic discrimination, which does persist. Unfortunately, we are experiencing, even now, where people are discriminated against because of their genetic makeup. So it says, let's stick with the father-daughter example. Nope, we're going to move along. We know that especially when 9/11 happened, God, we don't even want to talk about that. But when 9/11 happened, there were a lot of Americans here of the same type of descent, ISIS, or, from that over there. ISIS is, we know what that is. But a lot of people here with the same genetic makeup was kind of put all into one nutshell, like as if everybody was a terrorist. And it was just horrible to see innocent people be treated so horribly because of their genetic makeup. Then during COVID, we saw it again with a lot of the Asian descent people who were treated horrible because of the COVID outbreak. So this is what it's talking about, the fear of genetic discrimination, which is constantly persistent because of your biological whatever makeup. And then we know as ethnic people, okay, Everything. It has been nonstop with Black Americans, period. We are constantly racially discriminated against because of the color of our skin. And as Martin Lawrence would said in one of his movies, DWB. So many people have been discriminated against because they're driving while black. DWB. Okay? Or you're walking while you're black. Or you just discriminate because you're black. Okay? So again, reason number 5. The fear of genetic discrimination. And it says the leading cause for people to shy away from genetics is the fear of genetic discrimination. Genetic discrimination refers to the unequal treatment of individuals based on their genome or their DNA makeup. For example, on the basis of a heightened genetic risk for developing a disorder. I saw on the news here in Georgia today, a lady, she said that she's an entrepreneur. And she mentioned that she has been totally, all of her social media pages have been shut down because her name is Isis. Her name is Isis. She says she got no fair warning or anything. All her pages were just banned on social media because her name is Isis. And she was trying to contact the social media people because that's how she gets most of her business. She is a beautician. She's a beautician. And so that's how she gets most of her clients. And she had been trying to contact them to tell them, that's my name. That's my name is Isis. And she couldn't reach anybody. So she wound up contacting the news media down here. Told them what was going on because all her work stopped because all of her clientele comes through via social media, which is it's a plus and it's not a plus, okay, with that. And so thank God the news media down here contacted these different social media platforms, and they said, they asked them, did you do your research? Did you just shut down her page because her name is Isis? And they never got back to the media down here, but they went ahead and reactivated all her pages again. And thank God the news media helped her and helped it so she can continue her livelihood. But the sad thing is, because she was affiliated and associated with a terroristic type of group, because her name is Isis. And so this is, again, is what this is talking about. Reason number 5, the fear of genetic discrimination, which constantly persists. Okay, so we wanted to, unfortunately, there are several people, including us, Black and brown folk, we have experienced genetic discrimination because of our genetic makeup. But we're going to educate ourselves, and we're going to keep educating ourselves, and we're going to continue to talk about the facts and things that are going on and strategies how to overcome specific things, discrimination and anything else. There are some people that actually, they don't have a self-love for themselves due to their genetic makeup. And we're going to get on some strategies the next couple of weeks, talking about how you can better love and appreciate who you are. If there's anything that you feel like you want to improve about you, trust me, there are always strategies and ways that we can do this. I am going to move on because our time is up. Let's move on to our takeaway. All right. So our takeaway says that knowing our ancestry responds to our deep-rooted curiosity about where we have come from and what our origins may say about us and who we are. So remember that genes do influence the structure and the function of our brains, which in turn affects a wide range of our behavior tendencies, our thought patterns, and also our sociability or our emotional reactivity. And we're going to get more into this starting next week about how our genes make up who we are. Hey, Cousin Faith, how are you? All right, so let's give this quote. I gave this quote on Tuesday night, and I'm probably going to stay on this quote. I really love this quote right here. It says so much. It says that genes are like the story. And our DNA is the language that the story is written in. And this quote is by Sam Keen. I'm gonna say it again. Our genes are like telling our story. Our genes tell our story, and our DNA is the actual language that our story is being told in. And this quote is by Sam Keen. I love that. So we're going to come back next Tuesday, week 2 of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, Gene Factor, but we're going to zone in on a specific subtopic and open it up about our genes. And we're going to talk about specifics about who we are with that. Next week, next Tuesday, I'm bringing on a special guest, guys, and we're going to sit back and we're going to unfold and talk about specific genes. Now, y'all know, a lot of times, in order for us to get better, we have to expose and talk about some uncomfortable things. And we're going to start talking about that next Tuesday. Me and my special guest Tuesday. And I think he's probably going to come back on next Thursday night with me, because I don't think we're going to be able to tell it to expose and get to the fruits and the berries of everything in one night next Tuesday. So we are going to continue week 2. Different subtopic, same topic though, Gene Factor, but under a different subtopic next Tuesday and next Thursday night, 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. We ran a little bit over. We probably going to run over next week because we got a good guest coming on, y'all, and we're going to break it down. I look to see y'all then. Let me go on and let me do this. I do not get paid for this, but I do this because I strongly believe in helping people in need. So, and I'm going to open this up a little bit. Better up, guys. Okay. So create a personal professional transformation through expert life coaching. If you're looking for a life coach, www.betterup.com. All right. Next, add a plus community. All right. So empowering adults with ADD, ADHD, OCD to live their best lives. A different brain requires a different approach. Okay, www.addacommunityplus.com. Next is, if you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and family members. www.betterhelp.com. All right. And the next one is 988 Crisis. So help is available. So you can connect with people that you can trust. If you know someone that's struggling, or if you yourself are struggling, it is okay to share your feelings. The 988 Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people that are in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you or for loved ones, and for best practices for professionals within the United States. It is 24/7, guys. It's 988 Help Christ Line. All right, Learning RX. If you want to become a better learner or a better thinker, you might consider adult tutoring. Another great option is brain training. In fact, thousands of adults, our clients have strengthened their skills with Learning RX. More than 2,622 adults graduated from the Learning RX program, and they have improved their IQ at least by 13 points. All right, and they made significant gains in skills like their working memory, their long-term memory, and their attention. If there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae that you might have missed, or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, and then select any past series that you would like to watch. Okay, so that is YouTube, Shanrae Price. I am also a professional one-on-one counselor. So if you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens. Or you can email me at my Shanrae Cherie Price Gmail. And I will get back with you. I am a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. This has been Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, week 1, part 2. See you next week on week 2, or part 1 and 2 on Tuesday and Thursday night from 9 to 9:30. Thank you guys. Thank you, my Instagram family, my TikTok family, my YouTube family, my Facebook family, my LinkedIn family. Thank you guys. See y'all next week with a special guest. All right, and we're going to be getting into the nuts and the bolts of Gene Factor, and with a great subtitle. See y'all then. Bye-bye.